Hello, dear ones. Welcome to the Indigo Rose Lounge. I'm your host, Alyce Dylan. Kick off your shoe. Find a warm, cozy spot. The fire is crackling in the side. And the kitties are running around. And if you're allergic to them or don't like them for any reason, they will leave you alone. This is our place of comfort where we come to receive love and comfort and peace and ease. And so I welcome you here. What I wanted to touch on today was about capacity and willingness. So, as human beings, we experience only a very small percentage of what's really going on. So, in our present reality, wherever we are sitting here, there's so much more going on around us than our five senses can perceive. You add our sixth sense to it and we get to perceive it a chunk more. But even then, we only have a certain capacity. And so you might want to wonder at that. So if there's all this else going on, why can't we experience that? I believe truly that this human experience is a learning curve. It's a place of learning. Where else could you learn about consequence, for example, without a tennis ball and a wall? That wouldn't damage you and wouldn't injure you. But there you can sit and throw a tennis ball at a wall, and you understand through that action that an unstoppable, they're stoppable, but as a force heading at an immovable object is going to bounce. So there are things that we get to learn in this human experience every day. And whatever we need to learn those lessons is visible to us and is accessible to us. We would benefit in any way from seeing more of what's really going on around us. We would experience that. And that's what I believe humanity's come to. Humanity's come to a point in the evolution of mankind where the five senses themselves had kind of reached their maximum information gathering capacity. So as humanity, our five limited senses had taken us as far as we could go. And so for humanity to keep moving forward, to keep evolving with the central theme of being an ever-evolving civilization, it was time. It was time for humanity to evolve another step. And so the sixth sense, which was always a capacity of humanity, but only really realized in, say, 1 in a million people at first, and then 1 in 500,000, and then 1 in 100,000. And in the last 200 years, it's been a lot more. 6 out of 10, they say. You know. So we're born sixth-sensed, or we develop it quite early on, or somewhere in the path of our lives. We develop this additional sense, which is receiving information energetically, processing it most probably through the pineal gland, and then we use one of the other set pathways to interpret that information. That's where things got a bit wiggly, because we can have so many set beliefs and so many predetermined boxes in our minds already that when the information comes in, it gets skewed. So we receive information, the information is right and pure and true, but the minute it hits our brains, there's this network of predetermined belief structures that information has to filter through, and in that process, it can get fairly pretzeled up. So I think that a lot of people today who are very sixth-sensed and are obviously receiving information energetically, that can be a big part of the problem, is they receive information, sure, but in the processing of that information, uh, there are other factors that come into play, like their ego, their life experience, their emotional tuning, and their preset ideas, what they think is out there. And so, in our sixth sense capacity, I'm confident that the capacity of humankind to experience life more fully is certainly showing its head. We know that humanity is growing because we're getting to experience more. Of course, on the leading edge of this evolution, it's pretty challenging as we're one of the first waves to be experiencing this additional set of information, while you've got the shiny bums on the other hand who really don't want humanity to evolve because an evolved humanity would be more challenging to control. So we're in a little bit of a battle for our own existence. And we need to stand confidently in our knowledge and in our ability, but also with humility, because we're right at the beginning of this. Language doesn't even give room, doesn't make room for us. It's a challenge to try to sit with sixth sense people like yourselves and find the right words to describe our experiences. Because the human languages that exist, maybe others aren't as limited, but English certainly is limited to the five-sensed human experience. And so we end up co-opting. I invent words, you all have noticed. I invent words all the time. Why co-opt them and redefine them? But language is fairly restrictive. So we end up barreling ahead, having these experiences that there are no words to describe, and then trying to fit those experiences into a limited five-sense language. I have no doubt as we move forward, if we can gather together and if we can share with one another in humility, being humble, and knowing that we are all discovering this together, I'm sure we can move forward and add to language and make new definitions and create new verbiage to exchange our experiences. But it's going to take some time, and it's going to take the sixth sense community coming out of their shell, getting out from under the kitchen table and stepping out of the closet, so to speak, and owning our gifts and saying, no, we're not deficient. We are a new species of human being. We are a new kind of person. We are the enhanced capacity kind of human being. And we're still figuring our way through this. So we don't know what we don't know yet. But one thing we do know is that we are not defective. We are not deficient. We might at this point still be a little broken. We may still be in need of healing, but we will get there together. We will support each other, and we are going to be awesome. Okay? We're going to get there, guys. We are. I can feel it at the tips of my fingers. We're going to be great. We just have to give ourselves the room to heal, the focus to know that we're all in this together, on this leading edge, and life will never give us more than we are ready for. So if we have our sixth sense open and awake, we are ready. We have the capacity. Love always.